Hi, welcome to this lesson on statistics, mixed exercises part 2. Let's have a look at question 2. The number of days that a grade 8 learner were absent at a certain high school during a school year was recorded. This information is represented in the table below. So on the left-hand side column of the table, we have the number of days absent. So for example, we would read this first row here as the number of days being between 0, including 0 days, so no absentees, and less than 5 days. Similarly, x between 5 and 10, including 5 but less than 10, and so on, all the way up to 25 and 30. And then on the right-hand side tells us the frequency. So 34 learners were either absent between 0 and 5 days, including 0, not including 5. For example, here, 43 learners, number of days of absence will be 15 and 20, between that range. Okay, so out of the 43, maybe one of the 43 was absent 17 days. Okay, so that's how we kind of read this table. Write down the modal class of the data. So again, what does modal mean? So this means the one with the highest frequency. And in this case, it is 98. So the modal class here is X being between 10 and 15 days of absenteeism. All right, how many learners were absent from the school for less than 15 days? So less than 15. So X being less than 15, that means it's this interval, but it's also this interval and that interval, because those are also less than 15. So we would add up these numbers here. So that would be 34 learners plus 45 learners plus the 98 learners. Okay, so if I use my calculator, that's going to be, so let me just clear everything off, get a fresh start. 34 plus 45 plus 98, that's going to be 177. So 177 learners had absenteeisms less than 15 days. How many grade 8 learners are there at the school? So this is talking about the cumulative frequency now. So that means we need to add up all these numbers together to get the total. So we already added the first 3, so I'm just going to add 43, 7, and 3, and that gives me 230. So there are 230 grade 8 learners at the school. Draw a cumulative frequency graph or ogive curve to represent the data above. Okay, so we're going to use this table now to draw it. So you can see they already gave us the intervals already nicely here for 0, 5, 5, 10, 10, 15, and so on. So again, I'm going to need a cumulative frequency over here. So this is going to be my cumulative frequency. And I can just jot those values down over there. Okay, so remember, you're just adding up preceding values. So starting at 34, then adding 45, that's going to give you 79. Then we already did up to that calculation as 177. Then that's going to be 220. 227 and 230, and you can see that grand total of 230, that means there were 230 learners in that grade 8 school there. Okay, so now that we've got that cumulative frequency, the data points will be as follows. So your grounding point starting at 0, so for your ogive curve you're starting at 0 there, and for 5 it is cumulative up to 34. So 34, so it's going to be 20, there's going to be 30 halfway, 35, so it's about here for 34. Okay, try to be as accurate as possible when they'll give you a paper like this that you can draw on, so you can try and make accurate dots here. Okay, the next one is at the endpoint of 10, we have 79, so where we have 10, so 79 will be very close to 80, so it's over there. Then the endpoint 15 goes to 177. So 170 is part there. So it's very close to 180. So I would say it's about there. Then we have the endpoint 20 with 220. So that's going to be exactly on that point there. And then 25 goes with 227. So 230 is here in the middle. So 227 is very close there. And then 30 was exactly 230. Okay, so we're just going to connect these with a nice, smooth, continuous curve. Okay, and you can see it's got that sort of, again, that curve, that elongated curve. Okay, so there's your ogive curve. And there are the points, if you want to make them more emboldened, to show where they were going through. Okay, so that is the ogive curve. and then use the cumulative frequency graph, the ogive curve, to determine the median number of days that the grade 8 learners were absent. So again, we look at the cumulative frequency was 230. So the median is exactly halfway between the data sets, so that's going to be 115 students, and that's going to be exactly here in the middle. So we're going to go to our ogive curve, and we're going to come down here. Okay, so we're going to come down, and you can see that it's partway between 10 and 15, right? So we can do an average of that if we want to. But basically what they will accept is any value inside this range. So usually between like 11 and 14 outside of the data points. So if you wanted to say that the median was around 12 or 13, you would be more correct. Okay, so it's usually in between those bounds there. Any solution is going to be acceptable. All right, so that is how we would do this type of question. I'll see you in the next one.